In a world where people are losing their minds, who will be the voice of sanity, of logic, of rationale, of morality and truth? This podcast is looking for like-minded people to stand up to the insane and be real. The Recovery Atheist podcast is calling you to step forward and be counted. Welcome to the voice of change. Welcome to the Recovery Atheist podcast.
The Cost of Cannabis documentary starts on 4/20 with one man's defiant act against the judicial system in Marijuana Martyr. Travel through time with a history of hemp. Explore the world of weed across the planet. The real war on drugs revealed in Reefer Racism. Education on what makes a quality product in the CBD community. Come relax or get lit with us in cannabis culture. And why are veterans that fought for freedom not free to use medical marijuana in Warriors of Weed? All on the Down the Road Show YouTube channel. This 420, Stephen Mazzio talks about defunding the police and qualified immunity in Marijuana Martyr.
They'll stop. And I'll tell you something else too. If every time there's a lawsuit because of the inappropriate actions of police officers, the money that we pay those people when they sue comes out of the police budget, that shit'll stop yesterday. Because when they can't get a raise and they can't get a new car and they can't get bullets for their guns, they'll stop breaking the fucking law every single time they walk out the door.
Only on the Cost of Cannabis 420 documentary series coming to the Down the Road Show YouTube channel.
What's been going on, man? How's things going?
Are we going? Are we already going? Are we just
let's just jump right in. I'll edit this as we go through it, and then you'll get to see the final copy. But yeah, I mean, I kind of like just with you now that I've gotten to know you and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, let's just have a conversation, see what's going on.
So checking in. Hi, my name's Casey Murdock with the Down the Road Show podcast that I'm currently producing the Cost of Cannabis limited documentary series. It's a 7-episode series that starts tomorrow on 420, which is why I'm back on the Recovery Atheist, because I'm a longtime listener and big fan, and this is the only podcast besides my own that I've been on more than once. So as a second time guest, I wore my fancy ass shirt made by Dark Knight Studios, my friend Bat. So if you need a logo or a shirt for your podcast or whatever your project is that you need branding for coming up, hit him up at darknightstudios.com.
Well, I just got to say that you are so kind in saying that. I've kind of taken a break over these last couple weeks, just kind of getting settled into the new place that I'm living in, getting the studio set up the way I want it and everything like that. So it's kind of nice to be back, and I'm liking it that I'm coming back for this. So I watched your little sneak peek of the first episode, and I'm completely.
People are already pissed off at that.
Yeah, so much to go into, but we're not going to obviously go into all the details because we want people to be able to watch it. But I was a little pissed off at how some of the situations were handled, especially dealing with the courtroom, which you'll eventually see in the show when you watch it. But this seems like it didn't have to go this far, in my opinion.
And that's kind of the point of what we're seeing in modern day policing and everything going on with what happened with George Floyd and what has happened with Dante White, and that poor military currently serving veteran that got pepper sprayed and just obviously racially profiled and just tortured by those cops. Yeah, he deserves to sue them, and those cops deserve to be fired. That's why defunding the police is an important subject, whether you believe in it or not. It's an important subject to have and talk about, especially here living in New Mexico. We're only the second state already to end qualified immunity. They didn't just do it for cops, though. They did it for all government employees. So proud of New Mexico for doing that.
Well, and I guess with everything that is going on, obviously I'm in Minnesota, so right now the big deal that's going on is the Derek Chauvin trial that's going on here.
I literally just turned off the defense's bullshit to come do this.
Oh yeah. I literally want to take a shower after I listen to them say anything, you know. But yeah, the whole idea of defunding the police, I don't know exactly where that's going to go. It's been so long that they have, been bringing that up, and we really haven't heard much about it since. But yeah, I mean, I think I was just talking about this with my coworkers the other day, because they know I have a show, and I had told them I was having you come on and a little bit of behind what was going on. And the idea of we're going to institutionalize people that are dealing with marijuana and some kind of a charge of that way, and can get multiple years of being in prison for it, be it someone who has a sexual assault, someone who is doing other things that are just horribly wrong, could get less time. And so we had a huge discussion about it, how, like with me, it was the first time I've ever really advocated, but I was like, I'm an advocate for weed. I work in a field of mental health. That's what I do for a living, practitioner. And so I see some of these people that are on all these different psych meds.
Right.
And some of them, I'm sitting there going, maybe just, hit this once or twice and you'll be twice as nice. And, some of this mental health stuff won't be the case anymore. And so we're living in a society today that I think we're getting more progressive, more open to the idea that if we're going to have alcohol and everything else that's out there that can be so bad for people, why is this still being condemned? Oh. And then to just take this documentary you have to the level that it went to. I mean, I was literally like, what's the movie with Will Ferrell, where he's the news anchor? I'm trying to remember. Anchorman. Where he's like, wow, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, I love that fight scene.
Right. Yeah, you killed someone with the Trident. Yeah.
You might want to go into hiding, Britt.
Yeah, you might want to lay low for a little while. Yeah, so I was like that when I'm watching this, like, wow, that stepped it up a notch more than what I thought was going to happen. Now, obviously, without going into detail about what's going to be coming in upcoming episodes, the police, though, in this situation, I think they were kind of caught off guard. They didn't know really what to do in the situation. You got the judge running out of the room. It's like, what? I think they thought the same thing. Wow, this has really escalated quickly over a marijuana charge.
And nobody saw this coming, right? Yeah.
Right. So
and I know I just did a podcast yesterday and the host asked me, he's like, whose idea was it to reenact the courtroom scene with the stuffed animals? Like that was that was classic. That was all Stewart. That's his dark sense of humor and the way he sees the world. And he showed up in California with those. He's like, all right, we're here. I brought the courtroom with me. Brought all the cardboard cut up and wrote on it and just set it up in the little green communal area behind my house in my neighborhood in California. And we filmed it, and I set up multiple cameras for different angles. All of them sucked except for the main camera angle on there, which is the only time I appear in the documentary series ever, is literally checking the lens for blood real quick. So,
right, because he was squirting it around quite a bit.
Well, he was trying to portray it accurately.
Bring some realism to the situation.
Right.
Did he have this plan before walking into that courtroom?
Mm-hmm.
Straight up.
I have so much footage of me trying to talk him out of doing it. So the initial interview stuff of him saying, I will not go down to court for this and that. I got a lot of that stuff. I got two angles. I got a lot of that stuff. Unfortunately, I had audio malfunction, and it is what it is. That's why it's a little echoey, because the lav malfunction.
So, are
but,
we
like,
gonna?
There may
Are we
be-
gonna?
there may be-
In future episodes, are we gonna see some of that?
Maybe. And
Oh, okay.
let's just say after all 7 episodes are released, if they're well received and if there is more of a public outcry to see more of that, I may put together a kind of unseen version of just all of that. So yeah, I mean, so at this point, Stuart and I had only known each other for a year and a half, maybe 2 years max. And so, like, how much am I supposed to believe that he's literally going to go into this courtroom and slit his own wrist? So I'm spending that time trying to talk him out of it, really, and hearing him and letting him rant and go on and do his thing. And then to find out after the fact that he literally went in there and did what he said he was going to do, you know, the whole time they weren't paying attention. He was playing with that clipboard and getting that metal piece wiggled free, so that way he could just rip it right off when he was ready. Like, yeah,
That's crazy.
It was 100% planned all the way. He even knew that the doctors would release him because, you know, it was just an act of defiance. Like, all of it. Except for getting tased. That was the only part he didn't plan.
Yeah. So give me a little bit of a background. How did you end up meeting him? What brought you together for this whole entire scenario to even come together?
Yeah, so Chronicles of Comic-Con is my other YouTube channel, which is a spin-off from Down the Road Show that I started doing parody videos with celebrities and cosplayers and just kind of making fun of awkward, nerdy fan situations that I see all the time at Comic-Cons around the country. Because I was literally got bored interviewing celebrities and filming panels after a couple of years. So I started Chronicles of Comic-Con. And while at Phoenix Comic-Con, I was putting together a kind of do's and don'ts of Comic-Con and how to have a good time at any Comic-Con if you're a first-time attendee. And late coming home from the bar and filming all day, drunk one night, walking down a dark street, here comes Stuart on the sidewalk coming the opposite way as me, dressed as the Heath Ledger version of Joker.
Sweet.
And then I'm like, dude, I'm putting together blah, blah, blah. Yes, of course. Like, I don't even have to finish my sentence. He's like, I'm down to film. And he opens his mouth and he sounds like Heath Ledger's Joker. So he goes in a doorway that's dark. You can't even see him. And then he comes out and just ad-libs something for me. And it was just money. And we became friends after that. And then that summer he came to San Diego Comic-Con, stayed in my hotel with me, and we filmed for a couple days. And that's when I put together a 3-piece little parody series with him called A Day with the Joker, the first episode of which has like 12 million views at this point. So that's how we became friends, all through that kind of weird thing. And he's a stand-up comedian with a very dark sense of humor. He was being vetted by America's Got Talent, and I'm like, dude, you need to chill out your comedy to make it TV worthy, because I know you're funny enough to make it on this show. So he didn't make it on the show. No, I don't know exactly what happened with that. But he's just one of these guys. And then, like, the following year, I got stuck at Phoenix Comic-Con. Couldn't get my backpack out of my friend's vehicle, who was pissed off at me and was tormenting me on purpose. So I missed my flight. He's the only person who literally picked up the phone for me, picked me up from the airport, brought me back to his house, gave me his bed to sleep in, and he slept on the floor. Like, that's the kind of man he is. I consider him, you know, in my best friends list, there's only 2. There's Bat at Dark Knight Studios and Stuart. Like, I trust both these men with my life, with my mental health, with all of it. And but if you don't know Stuart, he doesn't always leave the best first impression, or second, or third.
he definitely seems like he's a unique character, without a doubt. He's entertaining to watch and hear talk. What is, like, okay, so let's go through, what is the timeline of when it was brought to you, or when you figured out, or he brought it to you about this whole situation? Like, what happened? I know it sounds like it was him and some coworkers, if I'm correct.
It was him and 2 other comedians. out in one of his trucks, because the Mazzio family had, like, limousines and party buses and other types of trucks. So they're out in one of his trucks smoking some weed in between sets, to stay in the funny mood. And
big fucking deal, right?
Yeah, big deal.
I mean, yeah,
and
big deal.
Some Phoenix, Arizona bike cop comes by, calls in the cavalry, and they pull them out, and they handcuff the one and only black person out of the three of them, not the other two guys.
Of course.
In typical racist bullshit, and which is a lot of what this documentary series is about, on how they use marijuana to racially profile people of color, and then nickel and dime them from school to prison pipeline and private prisons and all that, and such bullshit. But yeah, so they're doing that, and then it's just a misdemeanor. It had been semi-decriminalized in Phoenix, but the Phoenix law at the time in 2013 is when this happened, or early 2012 was when they got the ticket, and then he was going through court all through 2013. But the way the law was written, like, you can't even defend yourself. It's automatic guilty. You don't get a lawyer. You don't get to go to before a court of your peers. None of that. Just automatic guilty. Here's your fine. Which is better than, oh, you're presumed guilty and you're probably going to get jail time or prison time in other states, granted, but still not anywhere where we need to be. So this was always going to be a documentary on how stupid this system is and why we need it legalized nationwide and the laws and all of that. But I just never quite knew what to do with all the footage and how to wrap it up until I was in between podcasts in December and started going through I had like 20 hard drives sitting over here with 10 years of footage from all kinds of different stuff. And
we're talking about an editing nightmare going on right there, having to go through it and find everything you're wanting to use, I'm sure.
Plus it was filmed on an older camera that I don't own anymore, that it's like you have to convert the file, so it's not easy.
Right.
And I don't have the same editing software, so I can't easily convert the files. It was a nightmare. So, but then I found his footage and was just like, well, I got more to say on the subject now. And so I started putting it together, and all of a sudden it became, well, you know what? This is going to become a series with 4 episodes. Okay, 5 episodes. Okay, 6 episodes. Oh shit, I can't forget about the veterans. 7 episodes.
What has been your, from the people that have seen the sneak preview and the people that know it's coming up, what has been the buzz when it comes to people talking about it?
You tell me.
Well, I've got a lot of people that. Go ahead.
None of the reviews have been officially released. I haven't seen anything. I haven't heard anyone's opinion of anyone I've sent this to, other than yourself and yesterday's podcast. So you tell me.
Okay, well, from what I have put on Facebook, like with the trailer and other things that I've put on there, posted saying I was going to be having this podcast with you and everything like that, it has been good. People are interested in knowing more about, what it's all about, because I think once they get into actually watching that first episode, they're going to be like, what the fuck is going on here? This is not a normal courtroom situation here. For me personally, I find it that being in the field that I'm in mental health, that Stuart, when I look at him, he definitely has some mental health conditions that are going on. I feel that I think there's a lot. What really pisses me off the most about the episode isn't necessarily as much as it is the legalization of the weed, which I think it should be. I think it is the total disregard for the mental health part of it that wasn't taken care of. This is something that, the weed is like a side symptom of this entire thing. Here's a guy who's willing to do what he did, and they're not doing anything about the mental health. All they're thinking about is the criminal side of it. And that really is upsetting to me, because I was hoping that we're more progressive in the world that we live in today to realize that this guy has some mental health conditions that need some help. And it didn't look like that was happening.
And that's the underlying tone and theme of that entire episode. But not just that, but every episode moving forward in the cost of cannabis. So that is why it's the title of the docu-series, is what is it being illegal costing us as a society, or as individuals, or as people of color, or as veterans who need it for their PTSD that can't get it? What is it costing those of us who can use it for our mental health to live better lives moving forward? And so the underlying issue being mental health throughout the entire thing, and how cannabis can help that, and how pills and alcohol affect that and make it worse. And I'm definitely going to be highlighting, because I don't find it. I find it. I don't. It's what? It's not irony. It's definitely hypocrisy. It's just stupid right-wing Republican politicians out there right now, all of a sudden concerned over mental health when it comes to gun issues, because they don't want to talk about gun issues. But yet they also don't want to talk about free healthcare. What would come with free healthcare for everybody in this country? Free mental health. The same mental health we've all needed, no matter what our color or religion or background is. We all need help with mental health. And if we had free healthcare, that wouldn't be an issue. Then maybe we wouldn't have so many mass shootings that are being committed mostly by white guys that look like me, because either they're getting bullied for being fat or not getting laid. Well, guess what? Lots of people didn't get laid enough.
Right. And that's just it, is I think here we are, we're in 2021, and the mental health game has been around for a while now. It's not like this is just overnight, oh yeah, let's deal with mental health. No, this has been going on for a while. You got Big Pharma, who wants to sit there and say, hey, I've got a new mental health medication, and a nice SSRI or MAOI to throw at you.
You're gonna love some of the stuff I got coming up in the upcoming episodes.
I'm sure I will, but
Big Pharma wise, you're gonna die.
They're just like, open your mouth, let's just throw some of these pills at it and see what sticks. And then, oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to get paid off on the backside for prescribing it by the lobbyists and all the other groups that are being involved. But oh yeah, let's not legalize this weed, because if we do that, then all this other big money and the control that we have, that Big Pharma has, is now going to not have as much control. And they can't have that.
And why is it being legalized now? Once again, follow the money. They saw that Washington and Colorado could make it successful, so boom, follow the money. And Big Pharma wants you shoving pills down for your health instead of doing something holistic and natural, like Kama Hemp, which is featured in my documentary series. I was just interviewing them. Now I'm addicted to this stuff, and I use it in daily smoothies, because it's got, besides the CBD and cannabinoids, it's got all the nutritional stuff that you, instead of popping vitamins, you're getting all your proteins and carbohydrates and healthy fats and vitamin A's and different things that you're not getting out of your regular diet. So that's also a big part of, what we're going to be looking into in the documentary series is, hey, look, we as humans all of a sudden have all these dietary issues that our grandparents, your grandparents, my grandparents, and our great-grandparents never heard of, didn't have. Why? Because about 150 years ago, we stopped feeding hemp to our livestock across the planet.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you never want to say that there's a miracle drug. I was just watching a thing on YouTube with Dr. Oz, and how he has all these miracle things that he tries to, miracle diet aids and everything. No, I mean, I'm not trying to say it's a miracle drug, but when you look at it, when you line it up with alcohol, when you line it up with the other drugs that are out there, including Big Pharma and some of the medications that they're trying to throw, it has medicinal qualities. It has good things that are involved with it that need to be tapped into and need to be used. And it's just now that we're finally, because of the legalization in a lot of areas, getting to where we're able to do the research that's needed to be done on it to show what it can do and what it can't.
Yeah, because you can't do research on an illegal substance.
Exactly. So now we're finally getting to that point, and I think the more the baby boomers move out, the more the older generation move out and the newer generation comes in. I'm right on the borderline of that at 45, but I was born in 76. To me, I kind of look at myself as kind of a 60s baby, even though I'm not, but I believe in, free love, free, the drugs with the weed and it was just a more, how do I want to say it? It looked like we had more connection in the world with each other back in the 60s than what we're doing today, where we're all hiding in our houses and doing all that. I just think that it can be such a great thing to have available when you got people that, I'm hearing Republicans saying, well,
plus it's a communal drug. It's a spiritual thing for many as well.
Correct. And you got these Republicans saying, well, look at all the crime that's going to happen if you legalize weed and this and that, never mentioning anything about alcohol.
I have a lawyer and a retired cop on the docuseries that says otherwise. I've probably hit something on my pad. Sorry about that beep. But,
nope, didn't hear it.
Okay, but I have, in the docuseries, I have a lawyer and a retired cop that will tell you otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things now that let's stop. I mean, let's talk about the war on drugs. Since I got you here, this is a good one to go into, especially with what we're talking about. It's not working. We're not winning any war on drugs right now, and never probably have won any war on drugs. You look back at the Prohibition days and how they shut down alcohol, and it went up over 60%. The crime rate went up hugely. I look at Portugal and how the whole idea with them and how they legalized it across the board, everything, and how their crime rates, their educational rates have gone up. Everything like that is changing there. Why can't we, even though we're supposed to be the best country in the world, as they say, why can't we be more progressive in these things and try to put ourselves, we have the money to spend on research. We have the money we're putting all of our money into the defense program and everything like that. Why can't we finally just realize, let's just do the research on the stuff, get the information on it and go from there instead of this prejudgment that's happening. Every time you say, I'm going to go smoke some weed. Oh,
it's because it's the devil's lettuce.
Exactly.
And it's got a hold of our children because it's the grip of the overreactive right-wing, white mostly Christians. Okay. It's not the left-wing Christians. Most of their kids are smoking pot and they're okay with it, and even if you're not okay with it, like, it's that white right-wing Christian parenting and pastoring guilt that is also driving these kids into doing mass shootings too. So it's that culture of looking at things that has a grip on our politics, even though we're supposed to be a separation of church and state, that won't allow progress or moving forward until there's money involved, like we're starting to see. And like you said, statistics are showing that if you legalize across the board, that the crime rate goes down, because it's the shame and the guilt associated with that leads to doing illegal things to get what they need. Becomes criminals. So
correct.
It's, I said this in another podcast. I think the one in the Philippines I did, that instead of overreacting about all these teenagers, doing drugs, let's go to the root of their mental health problems and figure out what's going on at home and in school and in their society and in their personal lives that's making them want to escape their own personal reality. Because, that's what alcohol and drugs usually are, including pill forms. And that's why kids abuse pills, because they're so easy to find in this country. Whereas in marijuana is less easy to mess you up on a permanent basis with abuse. We can put that argument aside for long time use with teenagers and whether they become burnouts. And
the stunt of growth, stunting of growth and all that. I'm not saying that there's not negative effects,
Exactly.
And that there
But
are
what we're
people
saying
that
is it's
abuse.
not killing anyone.
Exactly.
That's what we're saying. Yeah, we're saying it's not killing anyone on the first try or second try. It's not messing them up with permanent side effects. There's going to be adverse effects, and it may stunt the growth of their brain, which when I was growing up, we were told your brain is growing till you're 18, and now they're saying that we are at the height of our reason, and our brains are most active at 14. And after that, it's all downhill. So, science is always changing. And
Exactly.
That's part of science.
Well, when you're talking about the mental health situation in the country, look, I want to go into this. Look at the shootings that have been happening. It seems like it's every single day we've got a new one that's going on.
More than every day.
Yeah, I mean, we've had like 60 shootings in the last 2 months or since the first part of March or whatever. And it's amazing how most of these individuals are having mental health conditions. One of them, the one in Colorado, they tried to put down the weed in that. Oh, he had smoked weed beforehand, before he went into it, and like that was the reason why he did it. And it's like, no, there's more going on here than just him smoking a little weed before he went into it.
Yeah, nor do they want to talk about him living in a Christian society where he's not even Muslim, and then bullying him all through high school about being Muslim when he himself doesn't even claim to be Muslim. So,
right.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. Let's blame it on a couple of hits of weed that can stay in your system for up to a month. What does that tell you when your body literally holds on to the marijuana in your fat? It holds on to it. Your body doesn't do that with alcohol. It fucking sweats it out, you puke it out. Same with pills. Like anything that's toxic to your body immediately rejects. What does it do with marijuana and cannabinoids? Because cannabinoids are a part of the brain system, and they're only barely actually studying that as health practitioners and scientists. The body absorbs the cannabis and holds on to it. Why? Because it's good for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's not water soluble like all the other drugs. It's kept in your fat cells, and like you said, your body does not kick it out. Usually, if it's a poison or a toxin, the body is going to kick it out as quickly as it possibly can to make you better, and it doesn't do that with weed. So, I mean, it's this witch hunt that these people are on over this stuff. Yeah. Like you're gonna go to hell, smoking the devil's lettuce is gonna cause you a demon to come inside of you and possess you and everything else like that, and that's why these shootings are happening. That's literally what it sounds like to me when I hear these conservatives talk about it, and it's like, This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. I mean, and I've seen Possession. It doesn't look anything like they talk about in Catholicism or in the movies. It looks more like your typical narcissistic sociopath that's just kind of dead inside. That's what Possession really looks like.
Like Ramirez, the Night Stalker out in California. When you looked at him and his eyes and everything, there was definitely something off with that individual. Now, possession, they can try to call it possession all they want. I call it mental health. Really bad mental health concerns, because I deal with a lot of people that hear voices, that hear things that are not there, and they try to tell me it's a demon or an angel or this or that. I really struggle with that concept of that being the case, that some interdimensional being is trying to touch base with these individuals.
But you do believe in multi-dimensions, though, I bet.
I do believe. Okay, so let me get into that real quick. As an atheist, I don't believe in an overall higher power God deity concept. But like with ghosts,
What about a collective?
Like a collective of gods?
Not gods, but a collective society. You got kind of a good force versus bad force in the multiverse.
I believe that with morality, and morality doesn't come from a god or from the Bible. Morality comes from society and how we decide what our rules and our laws are going to be as a community. So yeah, there is good and evil when I look at it like that. But and who knows, you know, the gods that people want to talk about, if I had a way of breaking it down, most likely it would be aliens or some kind of a form of life that was more intelligent than we were, that helped in some of it. But the idea, like,
that's why I always say, if Jesus comes back for a second coming, America's going to shoot him down because he's going to be coming in an alien ship. Like,
right. They're going to look at it as a threat, right?
Right.
So I guess I look at it with the multi-universe. I do believe in multi-universe. Again, I'm a huge science buff. So, and I'm a huge Star Trek-y guy. So anything to do with, you know, when I see episodes on Star Trek dealing with stuff like that, it just blows my mind. But the idea of like ghosts or certain things that we can't see, I don't necessarily look at that as the soul of someone who's died before and left. I look at that as it's most likely a parallel universe, some dimension we can't see that's there. There's a person of my look and who I am that's in a different dimension, that's a rich motherfucker that I wish I was right now. And then there's me in the situation that I'm in. So I do believe we don't see everything, that there's dimensions that we don't see. I do believe that there's things there, but to say it's spirituality or God, that's where I draw the line on it. I think it's something science that eventually down the line can be proven. I'm sorry, I can't help myself. Go ahead.
What if that person that looks and acts and has your same DNA in that other dimension is actually you, but a different timeline because you made a different choice somewhere else when you were younger?
Yeah, and that's the way I look at it. Is like I look at each version of whatever that dimension is, that alternate dimension, is that it's me, but making different decisions along the way. So for me, being an alcoholic, drug addict at times, dealing with mental health conditions, which the last couple of weeks I was really dealing with a lot of mental health issues, which I feel prescribed me weed and I'm ready to go. So
I'll write
now that
prescription right here.
Well, now that I'm not living in the sober living home that I was in, to where I had to do UAs and stuff like that, it definitely is something that I am looking into to help, whether it be through CBD and then also through flower, through everything else like that. So
I'm here for advice, but I'm sure you already know stoners in your personal life. Like I always say, for first-time users, or if it's been a long time, always do it with someone who knows what they're doing and does it regularly, so that way they can guide you to make sure you have the best personal experience to know how to come back to it as medicine.
Well, and it's happening so much. I was at my my stylist the other day getting my hair done. I was talking to him about it, and he's been looking at doing some LSD mental health training for himself. Yes. And so these are things that are happening now that we're starting to realize that we need to start tapping in to some of this stuff to see what could possibly be beneficial and what can't. And take the stigma off the idea of just because you're using LSD or some druggie.
Yeah.
And I think
and we love all those psychedelic movies, and we laugh our butts off at young guns. You see the size of those chickens, like while they're on peyote, we laugh about it.
Or not Dazed and Confused. What's the one with?
Great. Yeah,
but the one with Johnny Depp though in Vegas, where they're taking the pills and he's in Bat Country.
That's based on the writer's real life.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they glorify, or they make it look so different than it can be under a controlled setting.
And I got people talking about that in the documentary, on how they portray stoners in movies compared to how stoners are actual doctors, lawyers, and successful CEOs and businessmen in real life, and that you got just as many white people smoking it as you do blacks and Mexicans and Asians, and it's being used all over in every society across the planet. And the sooner we legalize it across the planet, the sooner everyone can smoke a little. Those who decide to, I'm not saying everybody has to, but what I'm saying is everybody needs the freedom and option to decide if that's something that can help their personal health and mental health. Because as someone who has not had health issues my entire life until the last 4 years. Something you don't think about and we don't realize is how much physical health weighs on your actual mental health, and so your actual personal health is important to your mental health, and that's why proper using cannabis properly can help both.
Well, what is your, when it comes to this documentary that your document, as I like to call it, coming out to show to people, what is your ultimate goal? What is your plan with this? What are you trying to relay to the common person out there? Not the person that is the weed smoker who is going to agree with you and be like, yes, this should be done a long time ago. What about the people that are going to be watching it that have never really seen this side of it or could possibly change their view on it?
Yeah, I'm going to be subtly asking questions to hopefully make people rethink their position on weed, pot, and destigmatize it as a whole, and so that way we can move forward as a society. Not only that, I'm going to be just blunt about it and in your fucking face at times too. So I can't help myself. I'm an opinionated person, and it's my documentary series. I'm the director and the producer, and my voice is going to be in there. But luckily, I've interviewed some amazing people for this that have said exactly what I would say if I was the one being interviewed for it. So that's just less work for my voiceover guy, because obviously the voiceover is me. It's not me doing the voiceover. Right. It's my friend, but everything he says is me.
So, how long do you think we're going to have to wait before we live in the perfect world of cannabis finally being able to be used correctly and in a way to help society? I mean, because people, that's a lot on people's minds. Is this going to happen in a year from now, 5 years from now? It seems like it's been growing quite fast, quickly.
Yeah, and that's a hard part to judge, especially with Biden, because a lot of people are like, "Ooh, Biden's going to legalize it," and I'm like, "No, Biden's been anti-marijuana from the get-go, and no matter what, no matter what Kamala says, she's put more people away for it too, and been more anti than she is pro for it all of a sudden when she
which I find interesting. Well, because of Biden, I find that interesting because he worked under Obama, who has admitted when he was at Harvard, he's definitely smoked weed when he was in school. So, it's one of those things where you think he would have a different view on it. But when you really look at Biden, which I'm happy he's in office compared to Trump, I completely am. But he's not for defunding police. He defends the police. He defends the marijuana being illegal. There's lots of other things about him that I don't agree with at all.
Right, exactly. I mean, I voted for him to get Trump out of there,
exactly.
Other than that, I don't agree with his politics for the most part. And look, I'm going to be honest about the way some of the people in this country view the police and policing, and how it started with policing runaway slaves with KKK, and then that turned into actual cops and police, and then KKK have infiltrated police throughout this country in the 20s, and then again in the 80s. And so it's hard not to correlate the cops with racism, and especially with the fake war on drugs that started in the 20s, and then Nixon really propelled it. Reagan kicked it forward, and then Biden passed that 94 crime bill law to really sink it into the black people and really fuck over an entire society, when people like me smoke it just as much, if not more. So, so it's a beautiful thing when you have a retired officer saying that gateway is a bullshit term, because
it is
that marijuana is not a gateway to any kind of drug, and that he also admits that openly that, like, look, he got into it. He loves superheroes. He knew Stan Lee personally. That's how him and I met, was at a Comic-Con, and that's how he became a cop, because he wanted to help people. He has a hero's complex, and sometimes as officers, that hero complex gets the best of them, and they make bad decisions.
Right.
And
Well,
to hear an officer say that was just really refreshing, and I think, and I can't wait to share that, because I don't want to portray cops as just all racist assholes, but I mean, it's something that is definite an issue when it comes to laws, the judicial system, the way we police communities of color, and the way cannabis and drugs are involved in that as well. I mean, that's another soapbox I could just go off on forever.
I kind of want to tap into that. Is what if you could, in your perfect world right now, kind of switch things around the way you want it? What is your opinion of how you would like to see the police, the drug situation policy that we have in the country? What would you think would work for you in that situation, to where we would still have accountability? Because we're still going to need that regardless of it legalized or not, whether it be driving under the influence, certain things that, if you're going to do it and you have your kids in the car. I mean, there's going to be laws that are going to be broken, even with it legalized, getting in your vehicle and driving, other things like that. What do we do, or what does it look like for you in the perfect world that you would like it when it comes to the legalization of it?
Yeah, I mean, legalize it immediately in all 50 states, make DC a state, make, Puerto Rico and all the territories states, give everybody statehood, and make voting easy. Let's show the rest of the world that democracy works, first and foremost. Legalize weed, take it off the criminalization and all of that, treat it more like, they say how are we going to implement a system? There's already a system that works for alcohol and cigarettes and all of that. Same system. Boom. We got a system for pills. So it can already go in two different systems, one for medicine and one for recreation. So that lie is just, the systems are already created. It's easy to implement. We need to decriminalize the rest of the hard drugs too, because once we do that, then there goes all kinds of dumb petty crimes that people do, because once again, they're shamed that they're a drug addict and they want help. So cops, let's have an honest discussion about defunding the police and what that really means, where we don't want to get rid of the police. We like police. We like the good police. We just want to get rid of the bad police. We don't want them militarized. And more importantly, we don't want, they're supposed to be launching a 998 number, which is the alternate to 911 for mental health issues. We need more situations and professionals that can come out to situations like that, where the cops don't need to be involved. We need to quit involving the cops that make mental health issues and issues they shouldn't be involved in the first place worse, and that's how people end up dying, because they're not trained to handle that situation. Let's let the cops be cops.
Yeah, and I think that's where people mistake or get the wrong idea. When they hear defunding, they automatically go to this mind of there's not going to be any police. That's not what they're meaning by defunding. They're talking about putting money into different other programs. By taking some of the money away from it. It could also be more defunding away from certain elements of the police department and put it into more training, more other things to help them be more appropriate when they're dealing with people, whether it be with mental health conditions, whether it be they're under the influence, like with George Floyd, and how to deal with someone who is in that kind of a situation. That whole situation I look at, it's like, yeah, even if he was high, there was no reason why he had to die in that situation. The defense tried to do that hardcore about him being under the influence, and
you had one officer admit that they normally don't even arrest over a fake $20 bill.
Right. There was no reason for that to even happen. I guess the witness that really upset me the most was the store clerk. And when they were talking to him about it, how he felt so bad now for even making the call, right, that he didn't think anything was going to happen of it other than them confiscate the $20 bill and give him a ticket for it, and away you went. And it just, he says it went south, and he says, I wish I wouldn't even have made the call now. Just dealt with the $20 bill. Yeah. And that's just it, is the defunding is to at least give a wake-up call, in my opinion, to the police departments of what you're doing is not correct. You need to update your policies, your systems, and make them more progressive in according to the way the world is today. This isn't the 1920s where we just take an alcoholic and throw him into an asylum, or a mental health person who's having issues and throw him into an asylum. This is more of, I'm hoping anyway, a humanistic world that we live in today.
And they should live in the communities, and they should look and reflect like the communities they're meant to protect and serve.
Exactly, and we're just not seeing it. They have that feeling of they are above us, and a lot of them, we were talking about it at work the other day about it, that they don't have an education. Most of them don't. I mean, there's people that work as police that barely have a high school diploma, let alone.
And that's what my friend Jarrett even mentioned is just, and it kind of opened my eyes to with like the whole thin blue line and the way cops look at cops, like they don't look at as bad apples, good cops, bad cops. They just look at, oh, that's one of those asshole cops. There's asshole cops, and then there's the ones who got into it for the right reasons. That's right. That's the way they see all cops.
Well, and I find it interesting, like with Derek Chauvin, he had like numerous complaints against him over the years, numerous for being out of line in his behavior, but yet nothing was done about it.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
So,
and as white people, we know the difference when we're dealing with an asshole cop versus a regular cop too, because asshole cops are just like that too, fucking everyone. They have a superiority complex, and I have a theory that they were either bullied in high school or they were the bullies and like bullying or found power in becoming the bully after being bullied.
Well, and if you go back to Derek Chauvin and his history with George Floyd, they used to work together. They were bouncers together. So they knew each other ahead of time before this whole situation happened. And when I look at it, I really felt like Derek he had a issue with George even before that entire situation even showed up, that he already had some hatred there for George and was taking it out on him
And what I didn't notice until the trial is when they pointed out that, like, not only is his hand in his pocket and he's just there casually punishing him, there's a one point where he's like picking rocks out of the tire.
Really? I did not see that.
So like that shows your character.
He's sitting there with his knee on his neck and he's just picking rocks out of a fucking tire on the cop car?
Yeah.
Fucking A, dude.
Like, so that shows your intent and this non-human.
He did not give a shit about his human welfare whatsoever.
That's all I need to know right there. I mean, there's plenty to know, but like that's a nail in the coffin to me. Like that just shows your disdain for another person's life.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't see how the defense is going
to not all cops are like that. Some cops make mistakes. No. I don't know how you mistake a taser for a gun, but you know what?
Oh, don't even get me started on that. I mean, again, in my hometown, we've got this woman who is doing the trainings for these people. She's a trainer. She knows this stuff, and she's sitting there trying to say that she mistaken a gun for a taser. Come on.
Yep.
That's pretty thin ice there.
You already know where he lives. You know where he works. You know it doesn't have to escalate like that, which was my friend's other point that we'll be bringing up on the documentary, because it's just like, I mean, once again, this dude had a ticket for smoking a joint, and then it all escalates for not being able to go to court during a pandemic over that joint and not being able to make it to a Zoom thing because he probably doesn't have Zoom or Wi-Fi, or who knows what the reasons are. There could be a million reasons, but in the middle of a pandemic, like that's the way the system is designed in a white supremacy world. to hold the black man down by nipping and diming them to death over stupid petty shit like that, and put them in the system. And once they're in the system, they're never out of the system.
What? So what? We're just gonna shoot him because he didn't make it to his court appearance.
Yeah,
he's got a warrant and over something that's very small, and we're gonna go ahead and shoot him because he didn't make it to his court appearance.
Yeah,
to me, yeah, it makes no sense whatsoever. He didn't do anything to try to be violent. He didn't do it. He just, you look at the situation. Does he need to deal with the warrant? Of course, it's part of law. He didn't meet his court date and all that, but there has to be a better way to deal with it and de-escalate the situation than, even I'm going to pull out a taser on him. Say she would have grabbed the right thing and the taser and did it to him. I still think that's overkill for the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to relook at and reevaluate the entire system. And, that's so when I say we need to burn it down to the ground, I'm not talking about going out and burning stores. I'm talking about, a phoenix rising out of the ashes into a better democratic system that works for freedom for all the way it always should have been, but never has.
Now, this is time for me to play devil's advocate. Do you really fucking think that that's going to happen? Come on. They've been trying to change police
No, I don't.
all the way back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and it just continues to be the way it is.
But now,
no matter what.
Luckily, everybody's got a cell phone. Everyone's got a mini broadcasting system on them at all times. It's not that things have changed. It's just we have easier access to see it now, which is why I don't want the government ever controlling our internet like they do in other countries. I have friends in other countries that it's just like, hey, our internet's back on. India shut it down for a few days, so I couldn't talk to you.
Yeah, the censorship part of it, where if a government is in charge of the internet, then they're going to be able to censor what they want and show what they want and be able to have that propaganda the way they want.
Yeah. Look, I'm small press. I'm small media. So look at, I'm fucking fired up and pissed off. Look at what those fascist fucking cops are doing to the press in Minnesota currently, and they were doing it last year after the George Floyd thing too. Like they're arresting press. Like, yeah. That side and those people like to talk about the First and Second and all the amendments and whatnot, but do they ever live up to them, or do they actually understand them? Fuck no.
Yeah, those two people, reporters in Brooklyn Park or Brooklyn Center that got arrested, put on the ground, made to sit there. This is ridiculous. They're there to report the story.
And then they taunted them with typical Asian American racism.
Yeah, and I just remember looking at that going, really, you're going to do this in the middle of one of the biggest trials ever when it comes to police brutality, and you're going to do it in the same city almost and think it's okay, or that nothing is going to come down the line, that there's not going to be people rioting, that there's not going to be people lashing out. It's unbelievable how the police are so, I would like to say dumb, but I wouldn't say that. They're just ignorant.
They're butthurt.
They're
butthurt over Black Lives Matter and over everyone being mad at them for police brutality.
Obviously things have got to change.
So they're throwing temper tantrums like little children and making it worse and taking it out on and just showing us the same reason we're out in the streets and protesting about it.
Correct. All right, so let's get the timeline. Tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah.
About tomorrow. What time tomorrow are we going to have it out? Are you going to have it out at 4:20 on 4:20 like you had told me you were going to do?
Yeah, I'm going to publish it at 4:20 Eastern Time tomorrow on 4:20. It's very hard waiting that long to publish it. I'm not going to
I'm sure it is. You're like ready to go, I'm sure.
Like I could, midnight India time. I don't. What time is it in Moscow right now? I don't know.
Right. It's got to be 4:20 somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Like the drinkers, it's beer 30 somewhere. They never knew.
Right. So what is going to be the timeline for future episodes coming out? You got the first one coming out tomorrow. What are your plans for the future?
They're going to come out like clockwork. And by that, I mean like a broken clock that's stuck on 420. So whenever the fuck I get done with an episode, I'll release it. Because like I said, I'm behind. I had an entire month where I couldn't work because of my neck pain and the amount of migraines it was causing. So I'm so behind my timeline and deadline on everything, which has kind of worked out in my favor because I've collected a few crucial interviews since that I probably wouldn't have got, that round out all the other episodes and storyline and information a lot better with, especially with a big wig in the industry that is a worldwide company. So it was just like, dear God, I can't believe you even agreed to do this. Thank you, because it was all last minute, and just talked to her last week, and she's literally like, we could have been soulmates in another universe or time. Like, she literally said everything I would say if I was on that end being interviewed, and everything I want my voiceover guy to say. Like, she literally it was just like, thank you, because I've tried to push certain people with my agenda, but it's an opinion piece. So everyone interviewed for this is allowed their opinion, but she like literally was just hit everything without me even guiding her there. So it was just like, thank you. So it made me even more excited to start putting out the next episodes.
Well, I'm going to look forward to listening to some of those. If you could email me or message me some links to some of the maybe podcasts, other ones that you've been doing, so I can put that in the description for people to check it out and listen to other things that you have going on. I really enjoy having you on the show and doing this. I remember when we spoke a few months back, about getting back together for this. I was looking forward to it. And now that I've seen the first episode, I think saying this to everyone who listens to my show, it is definitely going to be something for you to check out, and just sit back with some popcorn, and a nice fat one, a nice fatty for yourself, and just enjoy. Because I think it's going to open the eyes to just how far we have gone wrong.
It's serious subject matter, but there's going to be a lot of dark humor throughout the entire series, so that way you don't have to take it so serious the entire time.
So I want to thank you for coming on with me again today. Thank you for the kind words that you had to say as well at the beginning of the show. I'm going to be getting back into this hardcore. Everybody out there that's listening,
big fan. I made the host cry. Win.
I'm gonna start crying, man. Oh God. But I am thank you for taking time out today to sit down with me and talk about this. I'm going to get this all edited out and sent out there to the world on my Facebook and YouTube pages. And then I will go ahead and I will send you a link to it as well, so you can have it, so you can throw it out there on whatever media platform you want to throw it out there on. So again, thank you for coming on. This is the Recovery Atheist. You can find me at therecoveryatheist@gmail.com. You can also find me on YouTube at the Recovery Atheist with all my videos that are available. Take me on the go. When you're on the go, I'm on everything: Spotify, Podcast Addict, iHeartRadio, Pandora. I mean, anything. Use your smart. I'm not going to say her name because she's in the room with me right now, but you can use your smart speaker and just put me in there, and it'll come right up for you. So check it out. I'm enjoying what we got going on, and I'm going to enjoy in the future here, Casey, what you're going to be bringing to the table. Hold on for a second. I want to talk with you for a few more minutes, but we're going to shut this episode down right now. Peace out, everybody.
See you down the road.
Okay, so in the future, definitely let me know when the new episodes are coming out. I would love to have a sneak peek.
Yeah, I'll give you a sneak peek for every episode before they're actually
that way I can do a little bit of my own review of it before it comes out, and not get into any details, but like give them a little bit of a summary to get them set up, my fans going into the next episode. And I'm thinking maybe you said it's a 7-part series is what it's looking like right now.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe get 3-4 episodes into it, kind of get an overall view of it, and then I would love to have you come back on and touch base with the director about. It's almost like The Walking Dead when they have the Talking Dead episode afterwards, where you talk about the episode.
You could be my official update podcast. You're the only person who's, like I said, back when I did your show the first time, I did like 7 shows in like a 2-week span.
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen like 2 or 3 of those.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I've been looking forward to this whole thing, since when I first interviewed you. So, I think it's a topic that needs to be out there. I think it's a topic that needs to.
And I'm so glad.
Answered.
I'm so glad you picked up on the underlying tone in the first episode
Of the mental health.
Yeah, because my voiceover guy Mario, when he watched it all the way through, he's like, dude, what's up? What's up with that? At the end when he's with his mom, like the music gets really loud. Like, you gonna adjust that? I'm like, no, I wasn't planning on it. That's a directorial decision with the ramping up of all of his emotions from the entire episode that kind of overwhelms and overpowers his crazy ass.
And how in mental health issues, how it can be overwhelming that way.
Right.
With the mind stuff going on in the mind and the voices and the.
And how it starts small and gets big and gets loud and gets noisy. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it again just to get myself refreshed, because I have a feeling once I put this episode out, I'm gonna have a bunch of people asking questions about it or wanting to talk about it. So, I'm definitely gonna be plugging you hardcore for this.
I appreciate the public format and happy to get involved in any way, shape or form before 3 episodes in too, if need be. So, but more than likely the next one won't be till 5/20, and then hopefully like another one a week or 2 weeks after that, and then another one a week after that, type of a thing, because like a lot of these interviews are going to be in multiple episodes, so it's like right now I'm literally just cutting up the episodes after I go in and put their fucking company logo in their goddamn video, because all these professionals don't have their fucking company logo anywhere around them, and I want to make sure they're represented properly as a professional.
Well, this upcoming summer, I know right now you're in the middle of your documentary. I plan on doing a documentary, or trying to get some interview footage together and trying to go in a direction this summer with one. Probably a year or 2 project of doing it, but it's going to be dealing with cults. I grew up in a situation where my mom and dad would say it's not a cult, but when I look at some of the belief systems and the brainwashing, to me it's definitely cultish. So I'm going to be doing that coming up this summer. It'll be something I would love to have you be able to advertise for me. But not only that, I would love to eventually maybe have, I'm sure you know people or have been around it where you know what cults are like, or heard of your own opinions of what they are.
I had a friend ask me to start my own cult.
Really? What was the name of the cult going to be?
Oh, I don't know. I never got that far.
Oh, come on. Then you're not going to be a good cult leader if you can't come up with a name on the spot. I mean, come on.
No. Well,
Jim Jones was, just drink the Kool-Aid, baby.
I've also had people ask me to start my own religion too, so or my own version of Christianity. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here to break all those down.
You're not going to try to become the reincarnated Jesus?
No, he reincarnated me himself so that I could talk shit on Christianity.
That's the way I look at it. That God put me, if there is a God, he put me in place here to just cause havoc. Just to sit there and challenge him.
Well, after all this, the next project I got to finish that I've been working on the last 4 years is my autobiography.
Ah, that's going to be some interesting shit.
Where I actually talk about my car accident January 5th, 2001, on my way to court to take care of my one and only marijuana possession misdemeanor ticket. Totaled my vehicle because of someone who pulled out in front of me and died.
Ouch. And of course, did they come after you because you had the marijuana? So did they like put some of the blame on you that way because you were dealing with a marijuana charge, or
what? Oh, accident wise?
Yeah.
No, it was 100% his fault. Nothing ever happened with that.
So they never came out that good. That's good.
Nothing ever happened with that. But car insurance, I didn't get to make it all the way through physical therapy because insurance ran dry, and I didn't have my own personal insurance, and my car insurance wouldn't cover it, and he had shit car insurance, you know. So, you know, how much would that have been an issue if there was free healthcare for all? Car insurance wouldn't even be fucking necessary at that point, really.
Did you ever, like, in the situation, obviously I'm sure you've been prescribed pain pills and things like that to deal with some of your pain, but did you ever feel like it got to a point where it was like an addiction wise or a necessary thing that you had to just pop those pills, or did you kind of like go to weed right away to try to help with that?
Right away. Yeah. Right away. Then I barely even touched the pain pills because they didn't touch my pain anyway.
Right.
So I saved them for after I was healthy, when I would fuck up my knee playing basketball or something, and use them appropriately as necessary. I've always been that way with pain pills. I've always hated pain pills. They affect me hardcore. They hit me hard. Like, I hate pain pills.
I do too.
They make me stupid as fuck.
Yeah, they make me just want to sleep. I can't get out of bed. I'm just like melted into the couch.
I had a roommate that would drink and pop pain pills, and it's just like, I don't know how you do that. Do it with me, okay? Boom. I was out in fucking 10 minutes, just fucking out all the way.
And to me, that's a waste. You know, I mean, you're sleeping through the entire thing. You're not doing anything you really want to do.
And I've only done it
sober in that spot, you know, and do stuff I want to do. You know?
I've only done it for those extreme insomnia issues, when it was insomnia and pain combinations, where it was just like, well, you know what? I know 2 beers and 1 fucking pain pill with a fucking bong hit is going to put me out fucking permanently for the night. So
correct.
Fuck it, I'm going to go there because I don't have free healthcare and any kind of help.
Is there anything else they can do for you? Any other surgeries that you can have done?
But that was all. Well, that was all. That, you know, that was back in the day. But that was back in the day in my 20s, before the car accident, even. So, but since then, like, I've had friends who've had similar issues with their neck, who have had surgery, and now the pain issues are gone. They have a little more limited mobility, but I have extremely limited mobility anyway, just not to put myself out of commission for days or weeks at a time. And the same with the lower back. But I'm here in New Mexico. Once again, insurance. I'm on Medicaid, so it only takes care of certain things. So I'm pretty sure.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's why there's only 2 neurosurgeons in the entire state of New Mexico. I saw the top guy. The guy that when you get your appointment, you get a thing in the mail that's a 3-page letter of excuses on why he may cancel your appointment, because he's the #1 call for 911 emergencies for car accidents and bullets and anything spinal related.
So he might get pulled away, is what he's trying to say.
Right. And he looked at my brain scans, my lower back, and my neck, and even though I was just there for the neck first, he's like, hey, you know, I wasn't supposed to look at him, but I looked at all of your test results and everything, and there's nothing I think I can do for you surgically. So,
well, at least you're in New Mexico, so you deal with the dry heat, which helps keep the joints a little bit more loose. If you were up here in Duluth, you'd be in a lot of pain, because we're barely, I mean, we've had a few 50-degree days, but here it is almost May, and like today, 38 degrees outside right now.
Even when I moved from Orange County to San Diego, that was a different kind of wetter cold than I was used to in Orange County, and that affected me worse than Orange County cold did. And I mean, that's an hour's difference.
So do you live in like desert conditions now in New Mexico, or so
it's Albuquerque. It's desert,
pretty dry,
but like winds. The winds here are crazy and constant and year round, and like so. Any kind of atmospheric change and pressure or weather change affects. You're
gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it.
Yeah. So in some ways it's better living here. In other ways it's worse.
Well,
Orange County is definitely the best for me. But like, once again, my overall goal is I'm hoping this generates enough fucking public heat and awareness of me as a director and a producer, so that I can do my next project, which I've had an idea for 10 fucking years, which I know will be gold money, awesome, watchable on Netflix. So, and then hopefully that will launch my career, and I can actually have money to pay to get myself fixed.
How cool would it be to have something like that on Netflix for you, and then like have part of that episode or whatever is me interviewing you like in person, as you know, getting your story out there. Oh man, I see other documentaries like that where they're sitting down talking to someone, interviewing them about it, you know, like they're doing their one interview for the month or whatever, and then shows you leaving the building out to do your saving of people out there getting cannabis back on, you know, to the way it should be. The hero.
The next one's a people piece too. It's definitely a people piece and a individual storytelling driven type of a thing, but with celebrities involved, and the city itself would play a character. And when I came up with the idea, like, society has changed in so many ways compared to when I came up with the idea, like maybe it was more like 8 years ago, but society has changed so much that like it's an even better idea now.
Being that you're in Albuquerque, do you ever drive by the Walter White house?
No. But one of the cafes that was in an episode is right around the corner from my house.
Really? Yeah. Anytime I've got family that live down in New Mexico, I've always thought if I go down there, I'm just interesting to see where the pizza was up on the roof, you know, on that house in the show where he gets mad and throws the pizza and it goes up on the roof. I want to see that house and be like, that's where they filmed it. Yeah. I was a huge Breaking Bad fan.
Oh, I loved it. I enjoyed it. And El Camino was a great follow-up, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm, as someone who loves entertainment and creativity, and as a fan of all of it, I'm not that kind of fan where I go to locations and blah, blah, blah. If I'm going to be on that location, I better be a part of the fucking crew.
Right.
Like we did a family tour in New Zealand for Lord of the Rings, and it was a huge disappointment. It was just like, okay, never doing. Let's go back to family ghost tours of cemeteries and historic tours. This was lame.
Did you at least get to see some nice scenery in New Zealand, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's all it was driving around in a Jeep going, see that mountain over there?
Oh, yeah, there it is.
They copied and pasted that to make this mountain range that's in almost every scene.
Oh yeah, that doesn't really.
Yeah, and then we went down to a creek trail that's in one fucking shot with fucking orc running up it, and that's it. And other than that, it was just like mountain over there, mountain over there, mountain over there. It was just like we were on the wrong island. The other one is the one where you get to do the little fucking village that's still there. We did the wrong fucking tour.
Oh. So, are you ready for Comic-Con to come back into the world? Hopefully soon.
Stupid fucking nerds. They got all excited and bought their tickets to San Diego Comic-Con, and now they just fucking canceled it a month after re-announcing it, which is retarded. And now other events are being canceled. Why? Because nobody listens to me when I said a year ago, hey, you know what? This is probably an airborne viral thing that we need to social distance, wear masks for. And since we need 70% of the country to get the vaccine to get herd immunity, and over 30% of the country are still Trump followers that refuse to get it, we're not getting out of this anytime soon.
Are you hoping for 2022?
I'm hoping, but once again,
because I would like to go back to Comic-Con. I used to go to the one here in Minneapolis every year, and I would like to be able to go back to it.
We need a bunch of boomers and Republicans to die first.
Can Trump be one?
Yeah, hopefully. But you know, like you're saying, we need the boomers to get out of the way. That's the polite way of saying we need all these motherfuckers to just hurry up and die. So we do. We become a better society. That's how sad is that that's the truth.
Instead of what's her name, Ruth Ginsburg, the judge. Instead of those boomers dying, the ones that are the liberal ones, let's get some of the conservative ones to go.
Right, and like personal heroes, like, you know, my mom thinks I should be looking up to her and my dad and blah, 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 blah. But my actual real life personal heroes are Ruth Bader Ginsburg and John Lewis and Dr. Cornel West. I only have one living, and the Dalai Lama. Those are my personal heroes.
The Dalai Lama's the shit. I agree with you on that.
Everything comes out of his mouth. I love that.
I'm not a spiritual guy, but I will sit there and listen for hours. His knowledge is unreal.
My dream podcast, I could fucking die after posting this podcast. My dream podcast would be with the Dalai Lama, Dr. Cornel West, and the Pope. Could you imagine that fucking conversation?
Mine would, yeah, I bet that would be amazing. Mine would be the Dalai Lama. I would love to be able to do that, but the other person would be Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, I would love to be able to just sit down and pick his brain about certain topics. Space has always been something that's a huge interest of mine, and just to sit down, some of the stuff he talks about just blows my mind.
You're gonna enjoy my comic book.
Comic book? What's this? Tell me about this.
Oh, I just recently started that, so got a friend who's going to be my writer for it, and I'll be the creator, and we already know what artists hopefully we want to get involved, where her style will lend to it perfectly. But yeah, it's a concept I came up with when I was designing my next tattoo that I never got, because then I got sick and lost my job, and then all the pain and everything, and now it's just like, oh man, I couldn't even stand a tattoo. But it was, yeah. And that's
is this going to be like a regular comic style, or are we talking graphic novel type?
I will leave it up to the ladies, but I see it more as a regular comic book release. It could work as a graphic novel, but I also see animation, movies, and a video game spin-off from it too. Like I'm
Boy, you've got high hopes, and I dig that. I mean, go for what you want to go for. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. So a comic book with an animated series on Netflix with a fucking its own spin-off world in World of Warcraft. Oh, come on, baby.
You have got so many ideas. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
That's what I say. Look, I'm a creator. I'm a creator first, not a collector. I'm a creator.
It's like you're just busting nuts, man, just thinking about the stuff, right?
Okay. I'm gonna
get done.
Stop recording though. Stop recording and I'll tell you.
Just a second.
Okay.
Oh, people, what he just told me, I can't tell you. It's all under a non-disclosure agreement now, but what he just told me is going to blow minds when it happens. So we'll just leave it at that. But yeah, I always have the episode of what we just did, and then I always like having the behind the scenes recording of what we're doing right now to show for people, like just show the human side of us, that it's not all about us just getting on here and doing an episode, but we
nerd out
live
too.
Live. Yeah, we have lives and enjoy doing what we do. So I'm going to let you go because it's been a long time. So it's lunchtime. Let's hook up in a couple months.
And I need food for thought so I can get back to creating my world. I'm creating a world for you people.
I'm telling you, people, I'm legally under an NDA now with what he told me, so I can't say anything about it. But trust me, look for the future. This could be something huge. It's going to be interesting. That's all I got to say. I'm going to let you go, my friend. Go get some lunch. Try to stay healthy and smoke the ganj and help you with your pain and everything. There you go. Everything that you got going on that way. And we'll talk here in the next couple months. All right, buddy?
All right, we'll catch up, and I'll send you a link as soon as the next episode's ready.
Talk to you soon. Thanks.
Much love.
Much love, too. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Recovery Atheist podcast. It's now up to you. What will you do with what you've heard? How will you use it? I challenge you not to stay silent. Be heard. Be real. Be different.